In order to understand square roots, first you have to understand squares. For example, 4 is 2 times 2, 9, 3 times 3, 4 times 4 for 16, 5 times 5 for 25, and so on for the rest of them. Well, the square roots is the reverse of that. 2 divided into 4 gives you 2, 3, and 9, 3, and 4. That's all fine with perfect squares. Where the problem arises is with numbers such as 5, 6, 7, 8. That's where it becomes a bit of a challenge. Of course, to work square roots out with a calculator is very, very easy. The fun part comes is when you have to do it longhand, but I'll get to the longhand after. What I'm going to do right now is do the calculations for Pythagoras' theorem using a calculator, which will probably help for the long way. So Pythagoras' theorem really can only work with 90-degree angles. My drawings are not going to represent perfect 90 degrees for those people who are very technical, but it'll be a close approximation. Okay, we have A and B, or technically Y and X axis. So we'll call this A, we'll call this B. Okay, what you want to find out is the hypotenuse. Like I said, this only works with right-angled triangles. So we'll make this little guy 2. Could be 2 inches, could be 2 centimeters, could be 2 miles. And we'll make this one 5. So there is a little formula to work this out. And it's A squared plus B squared square root. Okay, as soon as I put this radical in, it kind of looks ominous, but it isn't all that bad. So to work that out is, normally I'd put brackets in that, but for this example, I won't. So A square is this number here, so it's going to be 2 times 2, give you 4, and B is going to be 5 times 5, that'll give you 25. So now we add these two together, 4 plus 25 give you 29. Now here's where the issue is coming out. With a calculator, it's not a problem, but like I say, with doing it the long way is a little bit more abstract. So what we have now, we have to find out the square of 29. So I'll put a little radical in there. So 29. Now I've already worked it out on the calculator, and the answer is 5.38. I mean, it can go more. I just did it to the two decimal points. So the hypotenuse is 5.38. I say I arrived at this with a calculator. So having said that, we're just going to do a quick review. What we did, we had taken the A squared, multiplied by 2 to get 4, the B with 5 times 5 to get 25, we added 4 plus 25 to get 29. We look at 29 and we say that it's in between 25 and 36. These are perfect squares. You already know those to memory, at least to 81. And you said, okay, 29 fits in here. So that's going to give you a starting spot. But we're doing this with a calculator, so this 29 makes it easier to work a little easier. So calculator later, and you just use the square root function, and that will give you 5.38 for c squared, or in other words, your hypotenuse of 5.38. So this is part one. That kind of gets you there, at least. That'll get you to the 29. Your calculator will finish it off to give you your 5.8. So that's all I have to say about the calculator. The next part that I'm going to do is working it out longhand, which is considerably more abstract because you really got to visualize what's going on up here. We're looking at 29 and, or excuse me, 25. The number 29 being located between the square root of 25 and 36. So we know that's that's between 5 and 6. So anyway, so like I say, the next part is working it out longhand. Okay, so we're going to start on the longhand way of doing it. We've already worked out our little formula. We start with the squares first. 2 times 2, 4, 5 times 5, 25. And 4 plus 25 gives you 29, and you want to find the square root of 29. So how do you go about and do it? Well, okay, you know your square roots, 25 and 36, and you know that 29 is in between. So this starting figure is going to lie somewhere between 5 and 6. And this is that's the strategy we're going to use. So what I normally do when I don't know is that I'll start out with a midpoint. In this case here, midpoint between 5 and 6 is 5.5. So we have 5.5 times, because you got to square it, right? Because you're trying to find square roots. So 5.5, and you know your multiplications table, so that's a piece of cake. You can whip the answer right off real quick, which is 30.25. Okay, 0.25. Let's erase that out. I'm drifting away here. 0.25. Well, we take a look and we say, okay, that's greater than 29. So let's try the next number lower, the next decimal point lower. So we'll go 5.4. We'll do the square of it. So that's multiplying the number within itself. 5.4, and that gives you 29 plus 16, or 0.16. Well, you take a look at that. That 0.16 makes it higher than 29. So we try even a lower number. So we try 5.3 times itself to get your square. 5.3 equals 28.09. Well, that looks like that's the one we're going to use, is this 5.3 to start out. And that'll give us our 28.0. If we were to go, what you're trying to do is get the closest number to this here on the lower side. That's the objective, and this is the lower number on that side. 5.4 gives you 29.16, which is greater. So we have to use this square here. 5.3. So if we were only working with one decimal point, that wouldn't be too bad. It would end here. So that would be 5.3. C squared would be 5.3, and that's where it would end. But most of the times, you need to work it out 2 decimal points at minimum. So the next part that I'm going to do is show you how to get that. But remember, you have to do this step first to be able to do the second point. Until you get really good at it, then you can bypass this one step. But until you have this down pat, I would not advise that you miss this step. So now we're going to try to figure out the second decimal place. So remember earlier how we did that? We went 5.5 to find a midpoint. Well, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to try to find a midpoint. So we have 5.3. We're going to add a 5 here, and then we're going to square root it. We're going to square it. So we're going to multiply the number by itself, 5.35, and that will give you 28.62. Well, we know we've got to go to 29, so there's a chance there's going to be another number a little larger. This one here is a little larger than this one here, because this is lower than 29, so that's lower than 29. So we're going to try, I'm going to take a guess again. This is just a guess, and that's how you make your decisions, from your guesses. So I'm going to go 3.8 and square it, times it by itself, 5.38 equals, think, 28.94. So this is getting pretty close to 29. Getting very, very close. Only 6 on this one here difference. But it's still a little low to that. So let's see if we can get even closer again. So we're going to take this and increase it by just a smidgen, another 9, by just one decimal point, 9 times itself to find its square. Okay, so and that will give us 29.05. Well, 29.05 is greater than 29. So we know we're not going to use this one, and we know this one is too low. And so this is the one that we have to use. So for our second point, the square root is 29, and our square root is 5.38. Now you can do that again to see the next number. I mean, you can do this for as many times that you want. What you would do, you would start out with 5.38 to find this part here, and you'd go 5.35, and you'd see if it comes near. You try to find what comes near, but if you know this here, you can do the rest. And that is pretty well it. You've made it this far, so I'll give you a happy little face here. I am not the best happy face drawer around, but it looks healthy. That's the thing there. There, it looks a little bright. Okay, thanks.